talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works?
Wait.
Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No, I want you to follow your own word, Director Patel. You said up there it was
47 seconds ago, the documents went live. The 2,300 pages everyone's been talking about. The files Jamie Raskin promised to release, and buried on page 847, a list so explosive that 3 news networks just cut to emergency coverage. 47 names, each one marked with a code, and code D, executive branch protection, appears next to 12 of them. But to understand why that matters, you need to see what happened today in that hearing room. Because what Raskin did to Kash Patel wasn't just questioning, it was systematic destruction. And Patel's response, taking the Fifth Amendment on live television, confirmed everything. If you're new here, subscribe immediately and hit notifications, because this story is moving fast, and you need to see every development as it breaks. Let me set the scene. Senate Intelligence Committee, Room 216, 9:47 a.m. The hearing room was already packed when Raskin arrived, every seat taken, journalists standing against the back wall, cameras positioned at every angle capturing everything. But here's what nobody expected. Raskin didn't come alone. He had 3 assistants with him, each one carrying identical black cases. They set them on the table in front of Raskin's seat. Click, click, click. 3 cases opening simultaneously, and inside each one stacks of documents, red tabs, yellow tabs, green tabs, a filing system so organized it looked like it had been prepared for months. Patel watched this, his lawyers watched this, and you could see it in their faces, that split-second realization that they'd walked into something they weren't prepared for. The first 20 minutes were standard procedure. Other senators asked their questions, counterterrorism budgets, cyber threat assessments. Patel handled them with his usual efficiency, short answers, no details, running the clock. He checked his watch twice, looked almost bored. Then Raskin took the microphone. Director Patel. The room shifted. That's the only way to describe it. The energy changed. People sat up straighter, cameras refocused. Even the stenographer looked up from her keyboard. I want to talk about a package that was delivered to my office 36 hours ago. Patel's expression didn't change. He's heard this before. Anonymous sources, leaked documents, conspiracy theories. He has his standard response ready. Senator, I'm not aware of any specific. I'm not asking if you're aware. Raskin opened the first file. I'm telling you what I found. This package contained a USB drive. On that drive were 2,300 pages of internal FBI correspondence spanning from June 2019 to January 2026. He paused. Let that number sink in. 2,300 pages, 6.5 years of emails, memos, directives, and reports, all from inside your organization, all documenting a systematic cover-up of the Epstein investigation. The room went silent. Not the polite quiet of people waiting for the next sentence. The heavy, thick silence of people who just heard something they can't unhear. Patel leaned forward slightly. Senator, I categorically reject any characterization of the FBI's handling of. You can reject it all you want. Raskin pulled out the first document. This won't change what's written here. Document 1. Dated June 14, 2019. FBI Miami Field Office to FBI Headquarters. Subject line, Epstein investigation, high-profile targets. He held it up so the cameras could see it. In this email, the Miami office reports that they have identified 34 individuals connected to Jeffrey Epstein's operation. They have witness testimony, they have flight records, they have photographic evidence, and they request permission to open formal investigations into these 34 names. He set the document down. Do you know what the response was, Director Patel? Patel didn't answer. The response came 3 days later from FBI headquarters. Quote, not advisable at this time. Recommend holding pending further review. Signed by the Deputy Director. He looked at Patel. 34 names, evidence in hand, and headquarters said wait. That was 2019, 6.5 years ago. How long exactly were they supposed to wait? One of Patel's lawyers, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes, leaned over and whispered something. Patel shook his head slightly. No. He was going to handle this himself. Senator, decisions about investigative priorities involve complex considerations complex considerations. Raskin's voice cut through. Let me show you how complex it got. Document 2. August 10, 2019, 1 week after Jeffrey Epstein's death. He pulled out another email. FBI internal memo from the deputy director to all field offices. Subject Epstein matter. Case closure. Quote, effective immediately. The Epstein case is considered closed. All subsidiary investigations are to be suspended. All evidence is to be transferred to headquarters for archival purposes. He paused. Archival purposes. That's FBI code for bury it and forget it. A murmur went through the room. Journalists were typing frantically. Committee members were exchanging looks. Patel's jaw tightened, just barely, but it tightened. But it gets worse, Raskin said. Because 6 months later, in January 2020, before Ghislaine Maxwell was even arrested, an FBI analyst sent an email to their supervisor. He read from the document, quote, we have compiled sufficient evidence to move forward with Maxwell. Why are we delaying? Response from the supervisor. Political sensitivities. We are waiting for clearance. He looked at Patel. Political sensitivities. Whose politics? Director. Who exactly was sensitive about arresting a woman who trafficked children? Silence. Patel's hands were flat on the table now, not moving, just resting there like he was trying to anchor himself. The next document, Raskin said, is from March 2021, after Maxwell's conviction. An FBI field agent submits a report. Quote, subject Maxwell has provided names of 47 individuals involved in the operation. Recommend immediate investigation. And right there, handwritten in the margin, someone wrote, not approved, high-level decision. He set the paper down slowly. High-level decision. Someone at the very top of the FBI, maybe higher, decided that 47 names connected to child trafficking weren't worth investigating. If you're still watching, if this matters to you, hit the like button right now. This needs to reach more people. And comment below, who do you think made that high-level decision? Because we're about to find out. Raskin wasn't done, not even close. He pulled out a document from a different section of the file. This one had a red cover sheet, top secret stamped across it in bold letters. This document was classified until 48 hours ago, when a federal judge ordered its release. It's dated January 20th, 2026, 3 weeks ago, 11 days after you, Director Patel, took office. He opened it. Memorandum from the Office of the FBI Director to all field offices and division heads. Subject Epstein-related investigations, new operational directives. He began reading slowly, letting every word land. Quote, effective immediately. All active case files related to the Epstein investigation are to be transferred to FBI headquarters. No field office is authorized to initiate or continue investigative activities without explicit approval from the director's office. All scheduled witness interviews are suspended. All pending document requests are to be denied pending review. He looked up, and at the bottom, Director Patel, is your signature. The room exploded, not metaphorically, literally. Shouting from the gallery, journalists jumping to their feet, camera operators scrambling for better angles, the committee chairman banging his gavel so hard it echoed. Order, order in this chamber. Patel sat frozen. His face had gone white, not pale, white, like every drop of blood had just drained out. His lead lawyer, a gray-haired man in his 60s, stood up so fast his chair scraped. Mr. Chairman, I must object to this line of, sit down, counselor. Raskin's voice was ice. Your client can answer for himself. But Patel didn't answer. He just sat there staring at the document on the screen behind Raskin's head. His own signature, blown up 10 feet tall. Director, Raskin said quietly, almost gently, do you recognize this document? Silence. Do you recognize your own signature? More silence. Patel's lawyer tried again. Senator, my client needs time to review. Time? Raskin stood up. Senators don't typically stand during hearings, but Raskin stood. This document shut down the Epstein investigation. It stopped witness interviews. It blocked document releases. It killed every active lead the FBI had. He pointed at Patel. And you signed it on January 20, the same day you met with White House officials. The same day. What did they tell you in that meeting? Director Patel, what did they ask you to do? Patel finally spoke. His voice was quiet, strained. Senator, I was not. Don't. Raskin cut him off. Don't tell me you weren't part of this. Don't tell me you didn't know. Your signature is right there. He picked up another document. And here's what happened after you signed that directive. FBI activity on Epstein-related investigations dropped 94%. Witness interviews? 0. Document analysis? 0. Field investigations? 0. You didn't just slow down the investigation, Director, you killed it. And here's the part, Raskin said, pulling out one more document. That should terrify every American watching this. This is an FBI internal list, created in 2021, updated last month, January 2026, during your tenure. It's titled Individuals Excluded from Epstein-Related Investigative Activities. He held it up, 47 names, and next to each name, a code explaining why they're protected. Code A, Political Sensitivity, 12 names. Code B, Diplomatic Relations, 8 names. Code C, National Security Concerns, 15 names. In Code D, he paused. Code D, Executive Branch Protection, 12 names. The room was dead silent. You could hear people breathing. Executive Branch Protection, Raskin repeated. The White House is protecting 12 people connected to Jeffrey Epstein from FBI investigation. He looked at Patel. Is that National Security Director, or is that a cover-up? Patel's lawyer stood again. Mr. Chairman, my client invokes his Fifth Amendment right. He will not answer this question, or any subsequent questions regarding. The room eject again. Fifth Amendment. The FBI director was taking the fifth. Raskin just nodded slowly, like he'd expected this, like he'd wanted this. Fifth Amendment, he said. The right not to incriminate yourself. He walked back to his table, gathered his documents. The FBI director believes that answering questions about the Epstein investigation would incriminate him. He looked at the cameras. American people, are you hearing this? Your FBI director, the man responsible for federal law enforcement, can't answer questions about a child trafficking investigation because he might incriminate himself. He sat down. These documents will be released to the public today. All 2,300 pages, every email, every directive, every protected name. He looked at Patel one last time. The truth always comes out, Director, always. And you just made sure the whole country knows you've been hiding it. The hearing ended 5 minutes later. Technically, it continued. Other senators asked other questions, but nobody was listening. Nobody cared, because Jamie Raskin had just done what nobody else would do. He'd named the cover-up. He'd shown the documents. He'd trapped Patel into taking the fifth, and within minutes, the internet exploded. #Raskin 47 trending worldwide. Cable news cutting to emergency coverage. Legal experts debating whether Patel just committed career suicide. And somewhere in 12 different locations, 12 very powerful people were probably making very panicked phone calls. This morning, January 31st, 2026, those documents went public. And here's what we know so far from the initial review. The 47 names include politicians, business leaders, entertainment figures, and foreign officials. The Executive Branch Protection Code appears next to 12 individuals who have direct connections to current or former White House administrations. Code A, Political Sensitivity, protects sitting members of Congress and high-ranking government officials. Code B, Diplomatic Relations, covers foreign nationals whose prosecution could damage international relationships. Code C, National Security, includes intelligence community figures and contractors with security clearances. And Code D, the most explosive category, lists individuals who, according to internal FBI memos, were specifically flagged by White House counsel as not to be pursued without presidential authorization. This isn't speculation anymore. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is documented fact, entered into the congressional record, backed by 2,300 pages of evidence. And Kash Patel, the man who was supposed to bring transparency to the FBI, just invoked the Fifth Amendment rather than explain why he killed the investigation into 47 people connected to Jeffrey Epstein's child trafficking operation. Subscribe right now, because tomorrow, we're going through those 2,300 pages, every name that can be legally revealed, every code, every protected individual, and I'll be here breaking it down page by page. Share this video everywhere. This conversation needs to reach everyone. The pressure can't stop until those 47 names are fully revealed. 3 minutes. That's all it took for Jamie Raskin to dismantle the entire cover-up. 2,300 pages, one signature, Fifth Amendment, and Kash Patel sitting there in silence with nowhere left to hide. The truth is coming out, one document at a time, one hearing at a time, one brave congressman at a time. And today's development makes it even more explosive. Just this morning, 3 additional FBI agents came forward as whistleblowers. They're confirming that the executive branch protection codes weren't just administrative categories, they were direct orders. According to their testimony, given confidentially to the House Oversight Committee, whenever an agent's investigation touched one of those 12 Code D names, they received immediate instructions to cease all activity and transfer their files to a classified archive that only the FBI director and select White House officials could access. One agent described being pulled off a case mid-investigation and told, "This comes from the top. You didn't see what you saw, you didn't hear what you heard, and if you talk about it, your career is over." That's not law enforcement, that's obstruction. And here's what makes Raskin's exposure yesterday so critical. By getting Patel to invoke the Fifth Amendment on national television, he essentially forced the FBI director to confirm that yes, there's something to hide. Yes, answering truthfully would be legally dangerous for him. Yes, there's a cover-up. You don't take the Fifth if you're innocent. You take the Fifth when the truth would incriminate you. Legal experts are already pointing out that Patel's Fifth Amendment invocation could have serious implications for his position. Federal law enforcement officials are expected to cooperate with congressional oversight. Kash Patel, the man who was supposed to bring transparency to the FBI, just invoked the Fifth Amendment rather than explain why he killed the investigation into 47 people connected to Jeffrey Epstein's child trafficking operation. If you want to know what happens next, subscribe now. Tomorrow, those documents go public. Every name, every code, every protected individual, and I'll be here breaking down every single page. Share this video everywhere. This conversation needs to reach everyone. The pressure can't stop until those 47 names are revealed. 3 minutes. That is all it took for Jamie Raskin to dismantle the entire cover-up. 2,300 pages, one signature, Fifth Amendment, and Kash Patel sitting there in silence with nowhere left to hide.